Hello there folks, it is TIJ Gaming and welcome back to part 3 of Season 2 of the Football Manager 2021 beta save with Wolverhampton Wanderers. And this should be a cracking episode. First off, we host Benfica on a wet Thursday night at Molineux in the Europa League. We've won both of our opening games and Benfica have also won their first two. So this one will definitely decide who the best team in the group is. And then a few days later on Sunday, it's going to be a tough turnaround that is, but hopefully we'll have what it takes to rotate the team. We've got a game against Crystal Palace in the Premier League on Sunday afternoon. And when does that kick off? It's 3 o'clock, so it's not too bad, I suppose. The last time, obviously, you guys saw me was that 2-1 against Arsenal and the 2-1 against Slavia Prague, and the 2-0 defeat against Manchester City. So we've played 4 games since then, 2 wins and 2 draws, which I'm fairly happy with, but on the face of it, I'm happy, but a bit frustrated, really, because both of the games in the Premier League against Bournemouth and Leicester should have really been victories for us. It was a very frustrating game against Leicester. We played Campana up front because Jimenez was playing on the right wing. I think that was just because we had a lack of depth. We had a lot of players out. Neto, Podence and Traore were all out, so we've really struggled with those positions in the attacking midfield. But Campana got an early goal for us, the 16th minute in. So we were 1-0 at half-time. Great. Then Leicester got a goal back, 58 minutes in. And we went 2-1 up, 82 minutes in. We thought we got a late winner. So we sat back and just counter-attacked. And then they scored in the 86th minute. And I was thinking, 2 each, really? And then the classic FM tactic of they went 3-2 up, and I'm thinking, no way, we've gone from 3 points. We were going to go into third at this point, by the way. But luckily, Raul Jimenez scored a 94th minute goal, so we salvaged a last minute point. It was very much us who got away with it in the end rather than Leicester. Then we hosted Zoya at home, and as you can see from this team, the likes of Rafael Neuer, Morgan Gibbs-White, not necessarily Morgan Gibbs-White, but Jack Watmore, Ryan Giles played his debut for the club and actually scored a cracking goal on his debut. He's a left-back / left winger, and he played quite well, but again, he's going to remain a fringe player. We played Mario Balotelli, Jay Moutinho, Bruno Jourdain, very much a second team, and it was enough to comprehensively beat Zoya with 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. Max Meyer and Ryan Giles scoring there, and a decent match. Then we played against the weakest team in the league, supposedly, the newly promoted Bournemouth. They were 20th in the league at this point. We'd got a 28th minute lead, and as it was in the game against Leicester, 89 minutes in, Dominic Solanke nicked a late equaliser, and it's been very frustrating, dropping points unnecessarily. I know we have the whole what-if situation, but if we'd have got those 4 points, we'd have had a tremendous start. We'd have been in 3rd place with 21 points. But that being said, 17 points from the first 9, that's not too bad at all. I can't remember where we were this time last year, but a solid start. We're nearly, what? That light's going to go, isn't it? That bulb's going to go at some point. We're not even a quarter of the way into the season, and we're nearly halfway towards officially avoiding relegation, so I'll definitely take that. So today, we have a match against Benfica, then Crystal Palace. So let's first focus on this match against Benfica and see that neither Zoya or Slavia Prague have got a single point yet in the group. That's going to change today. It would do us a lot of good to go and beat Benfica today. It'd be really good for us if we could. The side is a bit different to what you might expect, but it's fairly similar. We've got Rui Patricio in goal. The only change is that we've got Ruben Vinagre on the left side of defence. He's played quite well recently, so I think he justifies a choice in the squad. Just looking at this, though, I think it is probably necessary to put a defender in there. I'm going to put Jack Watmore on the bench just to make sure of things. I'm going to put Jay Moutinho in the reserves for this one. Sorry, Jay. Ward-Prowse and Neves start in the midfield. But what I have done, I've put Neves on a defensive mentality, because I think the problem is that we're maybe giving opponents too much of a chance. You can see that Connor Cody and Willy Bolly have got a good strength of defence, so that's happy. But I just want to make sure that Ruben Neves defends and covers for Cody and Bolly. But obviously Ward-Prowse in that box-to-box midfielder, he will roam from position from time to time. We've got Traore, Shabani and Podence in the wings, and of course Shabani at the essential attacking midfield position. And then Leonardo Campana starts up front because it has been recommended that we give Raul Jimenez a rest. And not the ideal game to give him a rest, but I think this isn't really a must-win. It'd be great to get a win here, but I think if we lose, we can still probably qualify. Go out there and carry on where you finished the last match. Pretty much perfect. I actually completely skipped over the last match we played in the Premier League. I apologise for that. We played against Norwich. We beat them by 4 goals to 1. So a solid victory there. I've not had a cold or a tickling my throat all day. The minute I start recording a video, my throat starts to flare up. Typical that, isn't it? We're going to get the, if we can, I don't think you can anymore. I don't know if you can get the widgets. I don't think you can get the widgets anymore actually on the screen, which is a shame. I was going to get the Europa League table up, but I'd rather not now. 20 seconds in, we're 1-0 down. That's not the best start at all, to say the least. That is a shocker. Let's have a look at this, because I wasn't really focusing. A cracking assist this was from Grimaldo. And after, I jinxed us, didn't I? I said, Bolly and Cody have got great control of the back line. They were completely caught napping there, and that's amazing. Within 20, 30 seconds, Benfica take the lead. Hopefully we can get something back. But as I was saying before, if we don't win today's match, it's not terrible. As long as we go and beat the other sides, I'm more than happy with that. If we can get some results there. We started well with 6 points, so we're going to have at least a 3-point cushion to Slavia Prague and Zoya. I mean, if those two sides draw today, that would do both us and Benfica the world of good. And after this, Benfica only need a point. Yeah, they only need a point, really, to qualify for the next stage. It was expected, I think, ourselves and Benfica would get to the next stage, but I guess Slavia Prague could have something to do with it if we start to get sloppy. And it's been a very uneventful first half. After that goal, absolutely nothing's happened. So I'm going to tell the lads that I expect to see a much better showing from them in the second half. Absolutely nothing going on here. Again, if it ends 1-0, then that's the way it goes. It's not too bad. We've not been disgraced. But we will probably about now. Maybe not. Let's see what this highlight brings. It might be 2-0 Benfica. I was going to go from positive mentality to an attacking mentality. But let's see what happens here. Adel Tarat's playing for Benfica. Do you remember him when, was it Redknapp who called him too fat? Campana anyway, he's up there by himself. Gets tripped in the box. Bit disappointed there was nobody up there to help him. In fact, I think Shabani might have been in the box, but Campana didn't spot him. Shabani, misses that. Right, can we have a better control of the back line this time, please? Charles Darwin has a shot. Surely it's not Charles Darwin. I'll have to have a check of that. Darwin Núñez. There you go, fair enough. Slavia Prague have gone 2-0 up against Zoya. So Zoya look like that sort of team that aren't really going to do much. I think it's probably Pedro Neto time. We're going to bring him on for Daniel Podence. I'm going to bring Morgan Gibbs-White on as well for Meritan Shabani, because Meritan Shabani has been okay, I suppose, but Morgan Gibbs-White's played well when we've played him. And I think if we go with that attacking mentality, we should do well with someone out of Gibbs-White. He seems quite creative. He's done well for us so far. But you watch this sucker punch be that we go 2-0 down. But a good save from Rui Patricio there. I mean, Núñez was offside, so wouldn't have counted anyway. Zoya do get a goal back. Remember that they were 3-0 down against Benfica in the opening match, and they brought it back to 3-2. So a comeback could well be on for them. Let's see how they get on. But for us, it doesn't really seem like we're doing much. We're trying to boot big balls up, and it's not really happening for us. But hopefully it'll change with this highlight and we don't concede a stupid goal. Gibbs-White, here we go. This is what he was brought on for. In the box, shoots. A little bit too tame, but as it said there, it was brilliant from Gibbs-White. He probably showed the best attacking skill that anybody has during the game, and given he's been on the pitch for the best part of 5 minutes, I'll approve of that. It'd be great to get a late equaliser here. I can't see it coming. It's been a fairly drab match, to be quite honest. So I'm going to bring James Ward-Prowse off as the third substitution. He seems fairly tight. We're going to put Neves in a more attacking position, probably as an attacking playmaker, see what he can do there. I didn't really consider who I'm going to bring. I suppose we can put Cody there, can't we, instead of Ward-Prowse, and then bring Jack Watmore on. I mean, playing for Portsmouth last year, now playing in the Europa League. To be honest, he's done a solid job. He really has. He's done a solid job for us, Jack Watmore has. When he's played, he's been solid, and I can't really complain at that. I'm just going to get all the shoot on sight stuff, etc., etc., all sorted, because, you know, why not? See if we can get a late goal here, but it might not happen. Be a bit unfortunate not to do so. It wouldn't be the worst defeat in the world, but a bit of a drab match, it's fair to say. We had that goal 20 seconds in. And after that, not a lot more has happened. I thought that might have been a bit more of an exciting match. That's a shame. I apologise for that. But sometimes the way it goes, seems Pedro Neto had a good game. Benfica were the better side, though, I think. But it was fairly close out there in the end. I think Slavia Prague did beat Zoya. They did. I think it was 2-1 in the end. So fairly close once again. We've still got a 3-point buffer to Slavia Prague. So as long as we get results against the other two teams, we should be absolutely fine to go through to the next round. I shouldn't do this while I'm on camera, because I think that when I click the continue button, my recording goes all pear-shaped. So I'll stop that. We've got a few days before the Crystal Palace match. Let's see if we can get a better result there. I think we should. We had the First match against Crystal Palace of the season on the 11th of September. And even though we went 2-0 down, we finished it 4-2 up. Hopefully it's not... No, we weren't. Sorry, we were 2-0 up, went to 2 each, and then got 2 after half-time. Either way, I hope it's not as complex as that. So here we are then for the second game of the episode. Hopefully it's going to be a bit of a better one than the previous against Benfica. We've got a few changes in the side. We've got both of the fullbacks have been changed. We've put Johnny and Kilman in there just because Semedo's quite tired. Our left back Vinagre. We're just trying to rotate the squad really. We still haven't really found our best 11. I've got an idea what it is, but there's a few positions like the fullbacks that I'm not quite sure. But I think probably on that right back position, Semedo is the better player. Again, as I've said before, Johnny's one of those that should really be a regular start, but just hasn't really been able to get into the side. Ward-Prowse and Moutinho in midfield. We've put Neves out of the match squad completely because he is a high injury risk, so I just want to get him rested before the next game. We've got Adama Traore, Gibbs White and Neto starting today. Daniel Podence hasn't had the best start to the season. His average rating is 6.54. So hopefully a game out will give Neto a chance to prove himself. He's not been great this season himself, but Raul Jimenez has. He starts again. He replaces Campana. And I think that Danny Pacheco might be a decent shout at left wing later on in the match because he's still a decent player. But apparently this is a match that we should be winning. So interesting. You know, I think that Crystal Palace are a better side than some say. At the end of the day, the Roy Hodgson's a shrewd manager. Everybody knows that. It's not quite England against Iceland anymore, but let's hope they're not the Iceland figure today. You can see we've started the season well and have got a chance, I think, to move up into 4th provisionally, but that is a disaster. But I think that's going to be offside, luckily. Is it Che Adams who scores? Yeah, he's moved from Sheffield United, obviously, to Crystal Palace, but a bit worrying that we've allowed them to get back in after... I mean, it is offside, ultimately, but I'll tell you what, we were close to playing him on there. It was because I praised the defenders early. That's what's killed us off, hasn't it? I said Cody and Bolly are brilliant, and that's completely ruined our chance, hasn't it? But we've not really done much up front. I mean, we're only 3 minutes into this match, so we can't really get too ahead of ourselves, I suppose. But we've got a scrappy in midfield. Ward-Prowse wins the ball. Let's see what Morgan Gibbs-White can do with this. Moutinho, who gets a rare start. He's more of a defensive midfielder and suits this formation, I'd say, definitely. And definitely suits that deep-line playmaker role. But now Palace have got it back. This is a concern. We know Wilfred Zaha's a good player. Milivojevic to Adams. Can he actually score this time? He does. And Rui Patricio, nowhere near that. Nowhere near that at all. Bit of a concern. A bit like in the previous game. We just don't really seem to be showing much oomph, as I would describe it. I mean, I don't know why we've got the high defensive line. I've turned that off several times. I need to have a look at this formation because it does feel like I've changed a lot of these settings and it seems to be reverting back. So I feel like must have done that in matches and then not put it across. But we need to go to attacking formation. We're not doing enough, I don't think, on the positive mentality. So we've got to go attacking. We should be able to beat this Crystal Palace side. But not a good start for us. What can we do here, though? Gibbs-White back out to Max Kilman to Otto. Someone get the ball in the box there, for Christ's sake. Moutinho, good ball out to Adama Traore. Puts it in. Gibbs-White gets his 4th goal of the season. It was all a bit of a melee in the box there. James McCarthy ultimately failing to get the ball out. And within 10 minutes, it wasn't the best goal that was scored ever, but it's a scrappy goal, it don't matter. A good pass, though, from Moutinho to get it out to the right wing. You can see that it must have pinballed off about 4 or 5 players there to reach Morgan Gibbs-White. He put his foot through it, to be fair, and he got his 4th goal of the season. He's seeming like an inspired choice at the moment. I did criticise him a little bit and say, well, you don't deserve a new contract because you're not in the side. But he's played really well so far, but that was very nearly us going 2-1 up. But luckily, Ward-Prowse should have that one sorted to make sure it's not a counter-attack from Crystal Palace. Our throw-ins have left a bit to be desired, and that could leave a counter-attacking opportunity for Palace. I won't be happy if this goes in. I mean, that's horrible if they score from this. Zaha's just bit... I mean, what's that? What is that? That's terrible. Really terrible from our defence. I mean, for a kick-off, we lost it from the throw-in. That was terrible. And then... that was dreadful. Just so easy for Che Adams to get it. Rui Patricio should have done better with... everyone should have done better with that. And Crystal Palace clearly deserve to be ahead at the moment. We've not played well enough. But Max Kilman gets his 2nd goal of the season. Well, fair enough to Max Kilman. It's 2 each. You know, it's great to see us scoring 2 goals and getting back in the match. But ultimately, our defensive work's not been good enough. great, we've scored 2 goals, but then we should be 2-0 or maybe 2-1 up. It's not really acceptable to be at 2 each at this point. I'm not saying that because we should be beating Palace. I'd be saying that against any side, whether that's Man United or Tranmere. Tranmere aren't United, are they? Tranmere Rovers. Bad example. Anyway, Raul Jimenez, can we go ahead for the first time during this match? There's not really anybody there to support him, but he gets it into the box for Neto. It's parried out from the Palace defence, but Adama Traore gives another chance, and Raul Jimenez scores for the first time in the match. We're ahead. I'll tell you what, if there wasn't much action in the Benfica match, this one is really making up for it. Jimenez's 6th goal of the season. It was him who originally tried to make the move, and again, it was just a failure from Crystal Palace to clear their lines. Quite unusual, really, from both sides. You'd say that Crystal Palace are quite a tight defence, good defensive side. Well, they've conceded 3, and we've conceded 2. And that very nearly is 4 of... I'll tell you what, we're making the chances now. I'm happy to see that. Fulham beating Everton. Interested to see in that match. Absolutely good to be that as a Liverpool fan. Johnny Otto into the box. Doesn't really see anyone's head. And this could be a chance now for Palace to counter. But Bolly should have that sorted. Passes it to Moutinho. Could be 4-0. This would be amazing. Raul Jimenez. Adama Traore. What can he do? Goes it alone. He shoots. Oh, it beats the goalkeeper. But it beats the post as well. A bit off target, but... this is looking encouraging. All I'd say is we've got to make the most of this now. I think you might be warning. Don't get complacent, because I think that's what we've been a little bit so far, and that's not helped us out. I think another goal in the first 10 or 15 minutes here would be great. Just make sure we can pretty much seal the result, although we have been 2 goals up in the past, and it's not really done anything for us. But Gibbs White! I feel like the players are listening to what I'm saying for once. 20 seconds into the second half, and Morgan Gibbs White gets his 5th goal of the season. I mean... Shabani's a good player, but he's not converting at the same rate as Gibbs White. That's now 2 for Gibbs White today. Could even get a hat-trick, his first hat-trick for the club. And he's effectively playing as a striker. Obviously, he's a shadow striker in that centre-attacking midfield position. And I think him and Jimenez are really controlling play well, given that our wingers aren't really scoring as many as they did last year. Pedro Neto, Podence and Traore got off to a brilliant start last year, but doesn't really seem to be happening for them this year. But as long as somebody's scoring the goals... that is all that matters. So Adama Traore is quite tired, so we're going to put Neto on the right wing. We're going to bring Pacheco on, see what he can do. See if he can boast a claim potentially to get into the first team. We're going to bring Jack Watmore on again. We're going to... we're just going to bring Connor Cody off, actually. I was going to bring Connor Cody into the midfield, but to be fair, Connor Cody rarely gets a break, so we're going to give him a break here while we've got half an hour to get a chance, because it should be match over now. I'll tell you what, if we go 5-2 up, that would definitely be match over. Pedro Neto, can he make anything of it? Whips it into the box. Not a bad goal, that, isn't it? Definitely didn't mean that. Raul Jimenez just watched that go by him. I think all the defenders watched it go by. Watch this, 5-2 up now, crazy. From 2-1 down, Pedro Neto puts a sweeping cross in. He certainly didn't mean this, but a cracking goal nonetheless. Jimenez could have got his head on it, but to be honest, either side of the goalkeeper and he'd been beaten. We lead by 3. Crisis? What crisis? I mean, we were 2-1 down and I was getting all grumpy. And now we're in the top 4. It's 0-0 between Chelsea and Liverpool at the moment. I don't know if that's because they maybe haven't kicked off yet. I'm not sure. But Zaha has had a particularly poor game for them, thank goodness. I'm secretly quite happy with that. I want to bring Ward-Prowse off because he's tired. So I'm going to bring Shabani in there. Swap Shabani and Gibbs White about because I think Gibbs White's probably a better player in midfield than Shabani is. But for the sake of 7-8 minutes, it's not really going to matter. Can Palace get one back? Surely it's not a... come back from here, is it? No, good clearance from Shabani, but doesn't quite clear his lines. Crystal Palace win the ball back. Milivojevic into Zaha. Can he get a goal? Johnny Otto, easy. Gets the ball off him. Pedro Neto whacks the ball out. This could be a chance for a counter. Come on, Pacheco. Show us what you can do. Runs on with the ball here. Puts it back to Moutinho. What a finish that is! What a finish that is. A clever ploy from Pacheco to put that back, because I think that every player would have thought he'd have squared that too. His striking partner Raul Jimenez, but he doesn't. I mean, when does he pass it? He passes it here, doesn't he? I'd have thought, I mean, he got the space. He could have squared it into Jimenez. That's what I thought he would have done, but he finds some brilliant space around the back here. It's actually Moutinho who runs in from there. Does a brilliant run, does Moutinho. First time volley. Probably wasn't expecting the ball, but a cracking long-range pile driver, as it says there. He's a horse. I bet on him once and he lost, so that's not great. But anyway... digressing slightly there, but a fantastic result this is in the end. I'm absolutely chuffed. Going from being a bit irked for the fact that we were 2-1 down and frustrated. And we've gone and beat Crystal Palace 6-2. It's very much been everything I've said this video, apart from the odd thing. It's gone completely the other way. I said that Crystal Palace have got a good defence. It isn't really that often that good defences concede 6, do they? But a draw between Chelsea and Liverpool puts us in the top 4. After 10 matches, we're in the top 4, albeit, you know, fairly, very narrowly. But you can see that it depends what Leicester do, I suppose, in their game in hand against Fulham. I suppose they'll win it. I mean, Fulham haven't adapted to their second league appearance well, which is a shame. It's a real shame, but I thought that might well have happened to Fulham after they finished 7th and got European football last year. But there's a very distinct top 7, I say, if Leicester win as well. There's a very distinct top 7 or top 8 that are starting to emerge. Tottenham part of that group this year, but not really too different, to be honest, to last year. I suppose Leicester take Fulham's place, but we're in there again. We've had a good run of form. We've only been beaten once this year, haven't we? We got beat by... Sorry, twice. We got beat by Chelsea and Leeds. But they seem like distant memories now. We've been scoring for fun. We've got Newcastle next. That should be another victory. But it's going to be a short break between episodes where I'm going to have to do this one next time out. You just can't. Can't not. And it's double negative. But you've got to do this. Double Black Country Derby. Away from home at Villa Park on the Sunday. Then an international break on 2 weeks after that. We play against the Baggies. It should be 2 victories in a row. But in rivalries, form, league position, doesn't count for anything, does it? But a decent episode in the end. A loss against Benfica, which is a little bit disappointing. But as long as we beat Slavia Prague in that home match, we should be okay. Be good to get a point against Benfica away from home. And of course, I'll cover that in the highlights next time round. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. I certainly have. What a cracking game that was against Palace. 6-2. Whew. I think we could get another top 7 finish this year. I really do. I don't think we're going to get top 4. We're not going to do it over a season. I think we've got a bit lucky so far, but we'll see how it goes. We'll ride the wave for now and see how things go. But for now, that's it for today's episode. I'll be back tomorrow as usual at 4 PM. Thank you for all your support so far. It's been great to see. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment your thoughts down below. And subscribe if you haven't done already for daily Football Manager 2021 beta content. But for now, I've been TIJ Gaming and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye for now.
Wolves are still there, Joe. We'll take the goal.